Good morning, everybody. How's it going? It's over here at 5:58 a.m. and I'm gonna wait till like 6:05 or so to walk around. Here's Banjo. Good puppy, Banjo. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Another day, another dollar. How's it going? Can y'all hear me over here? I took my selfie already. How's it going? Anyway, I thought today it might be fun to talk about the who's who of the Republican Party. Um, and yeah, I just thought that might be fun to do. Because as far as press secretaries go, I guess we're going out. I've been waiting long enough. As far as press secretaries go, I think in 2020, or I guess technically 2021, the press secretary was Kayleigh McKinney. I think that's how you say her name. And November 5th of 2020, I was hanging out in that garage there, listening to Joe Rogan and the secular talk. I don't have any problems with secular talk. Yeah, I just want to throw that out there. As far as Lil Shorty, though, obviously, you know, if there's been any AI, I'm sure Lil Shorty doesn't have any comment about it. Anyway, so yeah, as far as the who's who of the Republican Party, I think that's very interesting. I think in 2016 it was different, and throughout that presidential term, those 4 years. But now, 45 has solidified himself as the leader of the Republican Party, not just a small fraction of the Republican Party, but the entire Republican Party, right? I think that's safe to say. The only Republicans who are anti-Trump now are now voting for the Democrat presidential nominee, as far as I know. Correct me if I'm wrong, because this is about a space of learning. You know, I might not be a 501c, but I consider this a bit educational. With Banjo as my production. Anyway, so she was the last press secretary, and the recent KGP, what a mess. You know, I think maybe we can compare the two a little bit. I know it's different times, but still, I think we could compare the two. But anyway, we have Ted Cruz, right? I would say John Cornyn, but might be ready to retire. Kind of dwindling down there, you know. Not much. I don't see much people putting their bets, putting their faith in John Cornyn over there. Who he used to be a judge, and was the presiding judge when my dad was incarcerated one of the times. And then he later on became a senator to fight Big Pharma. My uncle's a pharmacist, if you're wondering. So anyway, there's Ted Cruz. You know, as far as that Colin Allred pinned tweet about J6, so oh man, that's probably a good move by Ted Cruz. He's gonna have, there's Colin Allred talking about J6, fearing for his life, which, you know, you would think you would hear from. That would be more of a Ted Cruz kind of thing. He didn't show that. He didn't state that fear, as far as I can see. So as far as the Colin Allred's pinned tweet about during the debate, the senator debate. So, well, certainly didn't make Ted Cruz look too bad, even though Ted Cruz was kind of making like uncomfortable faces. So overall, I think Colin Allred lost on that one. And then he pinned it as his tweet. I'm just saying, sometimes you get into, you know, sometimes some people's defense mechanism is to double down on maybe places where they feel a bit unassured, you know. So I'm wondering if that was the case. And obviously, why press that? So there's Ted Cruz, and then there's we're not thinking about John Cornyn. As far as representatives, you know, I'm not too sure. In Texas, there's none that really have kind of like a verified, I mean, they all have to be verified because they're holding political office and stuff like that. But I mean, as far as like, you know, having a name, being able to be identified in the public square, I don't really know any of the representatives there. Kind of staying low key. So anyway, and then there's speaking of the Republican Party turning from anti-Trump, because it was the Republican voters that were for Trump, right? In 2016, it wasn't necessarily the politicians who were. So Trump won over the voters, and then now he's won over the politicians. And who's tagging along with that? I think maybe should be a discussion. I saw a couple tweets yesterday of Kellyanne McKinney. I don't care. You got a job? I think it's annoying sometimes. I'm like, I don't think anybody cares about your political views. I don't know why you assume as much. Maybe you need to restate your resume so, you know, people can be reminded of why we should care what Kellyanne McKinney says on national television for Fox News. Speaking of which, then we got Tucker Carlson, right? I'm not too sure of the history with Tucker Carlson. Oops. What time is it? It is 6:08. Look, they power washed it. Isn't that stupid? Anyway, speaking of Tucker Carlson, obviously not a new face to the Republican Party, right? But for some reason split from Fox News, which may or may not be a weird move, because I think Tucker Carlson worked for CNN and MSNBC before Fox News. As a Republican commentator and contributor, I'm not too sure. But what I know now is Tucker Carlson says a lot of things, and I think controversial, far right wing would probably be the most polite society term to describe Tucker Carlson's political commentary on Fox News, right? But he left Fox News. I don't know why. Do y'all know why? If you know why, comment below. And now he has the Tucker Carlson Network, which includes his own podcasts and apparently, is it producing movies? I know they had a Tucker Carlson Network had a film premiere at Mar-a-Lago last night about what happens to illegal alien children, women and kids. I'm wondering if the Tucker Carlson Network is gonna continue on that path, that genre category, and have a movie about Uvalde. But anyway, Tucker Carlson, kind of an old-faced Republican, as far as being included in Republican society, social groups. I'm wondering how much that was. I couldn't tell you. But he's on the scene, apparently. Truth to Power is that his brand? And then we had Matt Gaetz and MTG and Lauren Boebert and Thomas Massie. Those four were kind of the public figure and celebrities of the Republican Party, which is Florida, Georgia, Colorado, and Kentucky. Thomas Massie, of course, being a Republican that leans libertarian. So, I don't know what's in the public square, but from what I can see, Nikki Haley's a little bit more famous than them. Nikki Haley has a little bit more star power right now than they do. And as far as one second, it's a little dark. I can't really see him over there. So as far as star power goes, they kind of dwindled down. I mean, they might still have star power. I don't know. Are you from Kentucky, Florida, Georgia, and Colorado? How are they doing over there? Because I know that was the thing with AOC what do they call it? The three, the trio. But anyway, so there's Tucker Carlson, who's befriended the likes of MTG and Matt Gaetz. And from what we can assume, with them being publicly photographed at multiple events together, all laughs and smiles, right? What are we to assume? So I guess we'll go with that, if that's what they're presenting to us, right? You think you're so smart? All right, that's what you said. I guess you're gonna have to explain that misinterpretation then. But don't worry, God loves you. You know that, right? Anyway, and then there's RFK Jr., which, from what I've seen, has been progressive. Honey Creek. And which I just want to note, from what I can see, there's been way more collaboration between RFK Jr. and Clown Gabbard now that they've joined the Republican Party than there was when they were both progressives. Again, before COVID, before January 2021, which I just want to say as of note. I see a lot of them together. And if you're wondering, I don't have any problems with RFK Jr. I don't know what's been going on in the public square. With that being said, I don't have any problems with RFK Jr. at all. Obviously, y'all know my sentiments about Clown Gabbard. So I think it's interesting who's in the spotlight, who's surviving in the era of the Republican Party, voters and politicians alike, with Trump being the leader of said party. Oh, and I just want to reiterate the fact that Kristi Noem, on the ballot in South Dakota, recreational marijuana legalization got passed. And what did she do? She vetoed it. So, I guess Kristi Noem's getting her way with the Republican Party, because I don't hear much about marijuana legalization or much about the no war with Iraq or much about the suicide prevention in the military, which is odd because the Republican Party is a great place to say all that. One second. And so anyway, what else? I guess those are the faces of the Republican Party. I also see some of the faces of the Republican Party on Fox News, excluding Kellyanne McKinney. I look at her and I just think she's a brat. So you look like somebody who doesn't have a good attitude when things don't go their way, optically speaking. Um, and which brings us to Meatball, Ron DeSantis, which wife is in remission from, I think, breast cancer. Um, and as far as Facebook, was it Florida's 401k was in Facebook? Um, that's just how it is. He doesn't have anything to do that. Is that what it was? You okay, Benjo? Which again, zero conversation. But I just want to remind Kellyanne McKinney was for Ron DeSantis, which I think was also in the military, and Ivy League graduate. And for Kellyanne McKinney was for Ron DeSantis over Trump. So obviously he didn't win over his own last remaining press secretary the months leading up to the Republican primary. One second. So anyway, got my, it's a little dusty. My grandpa made this for me. I'm gonna go ahead and sit down and see if I have anything else to say. So anyway, I think it's very interesting, the faces of the Republican Party. I'm wondering, obviously wondering about Tucker Carlson, how he always manages to stay on the scene. But I guess he's producing movies now, so there must be some movie production connections there. I mean, was he a journalist for Fox News? So, anyway, so yeah, I guess those are the new faces of the Republican Party, or what they would like to be the new faces of the Republican Party. Which, I mean, you can go ahead and do that all you want. I think that you're doing that, the purpose and goal of doing that would be to be able to say something and then people just believe it and go with it, and stuff like that. Right? Which obviously, in this day and age, I really don't think you'll have a lot of success in doing. And as far as Tucker Carlson, Clown Gabbard, maybe even throwing Meatball in there, right? Who benefits from that? I don't think the Clinton Global Initiative, Clinton Foundation, I don't think they'd have any problems with it, right? I mean, there are, from what I see from The View and I guess a Bill Clinton interview, you know, some Democrats even, including Colin Allred, don't like what's going on with the border. So some Republicans are out, some Republicans are in, as far as the the public spotlight. So I think that's interesting. You've got Trump as the leader, and then I think a paradigm shift along with a perceived power shift is interesting, especially considering the point I made earlier about Trump winning over the Republican voters and then later the politicians. And then now, not only Republican politicians, but also Democrat voters, right? Independents and stuff like that. Anyway, with that being said, I've never been spoken to about a conservatorship. As far as the meatball goes, zero information about that and any sort of legal stuff going on. Just throwing that out there. But anyway, so if you have a who's who, did I miss another kind of face in the spotlight of the Republican Party? I guess maybe I'm saying the infamous faces of the Republican Party and not all of the who's who of the Republican Party. But anyway, I guess those are my comments today. I get to be next to, you know God loves you, right? Hi, honey. While Joe Rogan gets to be with my husband for 2 hours in Austin. Way to go, Joe Rogan. I saw on The View, or somebody who does kind of a parody of The View, which is funny. I'll have to like one of them on Twitter one time, presently known as X. But apparently they were talking about Joe Rogan listeners are male. So I wonder how that's gonna go. I know the people who support me in my endeavors are not all female. So I think that should be interesting as far as the audience and the viewers, how they react to all that. And as far as faces of the Republican Party, I saw a comment about they should have Alex Jones in the interview there too, which I thought was a good point, because I think that was the most views of all Joe Rogan's podcasts. I think Alex Jones was like the top 5 most viewed podcasts or whatever of Joe Rogan's interviews, which was in California, and then he moved to Texas. So I guess him and Adam Kissinger have that in common. Anyway, I'm sure Joe Rogan will donate all the proceeds to a charity of some sort. Isn't that how it goes? Huh, little shorty? Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. I guess that's all I have to say today. Y'all have a good one. Uh, Bummed that I have to see that. Hey, honey. Uh, how does she know I'm putting this on the internet? How does she know I'm not FaceTiming somebody? Huh, Joe Rogan? You gonna explain that? Why do you think she thinks I'm putting it on the internet? When not one person has recognized me, have not received one check as a social media influencer. You got any explanations for that, Joe Rogan? A little shorty. Anyway, the Elon Musk phone call wasn't enough. Clown Gabbard wasn't enough. Wasn't at the RNC. I know. Was it Dana White? Dana White was at the RNC. Huh, Joe Rogan? What's going on there? I thought y'all were friends. He didn't invite you to the RNC. Well, you sure showed him getting a 2-hour interview in Austin, Texas. Anyway, another day, another dollar. Y'all have a good one. I'll talk to y'all later.